Pisces. This is Isel, the altruistic mystic. I'm gonna scoot down a bit. Maybe that's it. It's like 10 till 2 in the morning right now. I was going to bed earlier and a little bit ago, and kept feeling that I just needed to do a channeled message for you. And I wanted to go to bed, and that didn't happen, so I put some makeup on over my smeared makeup, and here I am. But yeah, I wanted to first start out with a general energy of like what I'm feeling is how much energy we're putting into things, and like if we are really, it's like what we're putting and expending into, like not just one thing, but like everything. There's like an overarching energy of the greater picture here, and it feels like there's a level of, it's like a level of needing to trust, but we're not trusting. It's like we're still trying to control the situations in certain ways. So it's like we're going to be putting forth our energy like fully, in some cases almost obsessively, and we have to be mindful of the greater picture. We have to be mindful of what it is that feeds each situation from us, because this is about, there's a level of courting here that's happening. Each situation is an extension of ourselves. It's like a piece of us because we've infused it with so much energy. And I think here, because there's so much on the table, there's so many different situations happening, we need to be conscious of the level of energy that we put in towards each thing, because we want a good outcome. If you're just doing something to just get it off the table, you'll do that. You'll effectively get it off the table. But remember, it's like when you're making a soup, like all of the ingredients are integral, you know? And so like the outcome is like, sure, it's edible, but do I want to eat it? Like, do I want it on my table? You know? And I think that that's part of some of this energy. And like, we need to pay attention to that in work as well. Like, not just like how much we're putting into these situations, but like our actual jobs. Like if you have deadlines and if you have like a piling like amount of stuff just like building up, like don't try and just shove it all together. You need to talk about this to your person, your people, your team, your boss. You need to be able to trust that they have your back. And right now that feels really hard for some reason. It almost feels like it's almost like you don't know them. It feels like you don't even know them. And like some of you may not know your people, your coworkers. Some of you may just feel like you're not, is it not syncing? It's like you're not syncing in with them, or like you're not in sync with them. And so you're trying to do all of this stuff in secret. You're trying to do things privately and still have the outcome. And it's like to your detriment because you're putting so much focus here. It's almost like those other cords to other things that you're doing are actually starting to lack because you're so focused over here. But because you're such an energetic being, you want to feed everything. And you're completely forgetting to feed yourself. You're completely forgetting to come back to center. Yeah. You know, there's a deadline within the deadline. And that's in regard to how this is being experienced. It's like this type of energy is being given as a lesson, like the deadline within the deadline. So you are experiencing this energy and this lesson so you can actually understand where to feed the energy to. And some of you are going to make yourself sick because because there's a disregard for self. And so it's like, while we're doing all of these things, we're eating poorly, we're drinking tons of caffeine, we're emotionally out of balance. You know, I want to also just really quickly say something about the nervous system. The nervous system is affected, especially when caffeine is involved. You know, tea is great. Mate, I recently started drinking mate, this stuff, when I have it. I don't know if anybody's seen videos where I have this. I'm drinking mate, though. It's delightful. But you need to be more careful about those things because they're affecting the nervous system. The nervous system is, it's on hyperdrive right now in certain ways. You're having problems sleeping. You're having issues with connection with people. Your communications are poor. And you're not eating right, or you're overeating, but all the wrong things. And like, I want to cry because it's like it's like when we are out of sync with everything within ourselves, and we're just like stuffing things that we think will make us feel better onto ourselves, then it's like we know that it's not real, you know, it's not real, but also we know that it's a cycle. Yeah, it's a cycle. And I think the sooner we're able to get in tune with that energy, that the knowledge of that it's a cycle, the easier time we'll have being able to release it and step away from it, and be able to connect and communicate with the people around us and be very honest. Because I think there's a lesson here also within like the levels of honesty that you're able to hold with people. They need to know that you are open to communicating with them. They need to know that you are open in trusting them and being, it's like by you doing that, it almost shows them that you're willing to ensure the level of work that you are committed to giving and putting out. That's what it is. But you need to communicate with these people. Because the reality is, if this goes to shit show, if this goes down in flames, what you're trying to do and overdo and overcompensate, it's going to reflect poorly on you. And that's what you're scared about right now. There's a level of being very, very worried about it. And I think that this is almost self-imposed. So just be conscious of the energy that you're putting into your work and your effort. Within like money world, like finance, like I feel like you need to put your thinking cap on. Again, this is, you know, it's like that kind of trails into the general energy, and that general energy seemed very focused on like fragmented energy and also job. So with again, I'm putting a thinking cap on, and it's like okay, so you have the color wheel. You have the color wheel with Roy Jabiv, you know, the rainbow colors, all of the colors in sequence. And then you have the offshoots of these colors, which blend into a rainbow, but like, you know, a multifaceted rainbow, you know? And so it's like now the thinking cap is on, and we're having to like pick which, it's almost like picking the color for a wall. Like, which one will go best? I have to live with this. I'm going to have to live with this. So which one is going to go best? Okay. Yeah, you have to be very thoughtful and mindful in regard to how you are, what you're incorporating into your work, because it's going to matter. Yeah, it's going to matter. And like, I think you're really nervous about that. Like wanting to seem like you can hold it all together, but, and you will be able to hold it all together. But I think that there needs to be, there's something breaking down in Pisces. It feels like a level of humility and vulnerability. And I think that Pisces is incredibly good about being vulnerable and being able to be humiliated. I am also Pisces. We in a lot of ways, we're able to experience the depths in humility that is almost like the shedding of the armor. It's very Scorpio energy, you know, out of the higher vibration of Scorpio, when they are willing to view their lives and they are willing to release what it is that's accumulated, as far as the shell goes, as far as the appearance goes, the facade, you know, being able to hold it all together and, oh, I've got this. I've got this. Don't you worry. I'll have that on your desk by 5. 5 when? Today, tomorrow, next week? I don't know. You forgot. It's too much on your plate. Okay. So that thinking cap needs to be very, very well placed. I'm feeling very thirsty. I'm feeling water. I'm feeling water for sure. A lot of water. Especially those of you that are drinking a lot of coffee. You have to remember that coffee is going to dehydrate you. You know, when you are dehydrated, your brain is also going to run a lot on water. And so when your body's dehydrated, your brain becomes dehydrated. It's neurons are going nuts. You know, there's a lot of things that are happening in our bodies when we don't have enough hydration. And so our function level, even if we're jacked up on coffee, is not the best. It's erratic. There's something very it's dangerous in this situation in a regard, because it's causing things to be undone. It's causing things to get, it's almost like having ADHD, you know. I'm sorry for anybody who has that. I'm not knocking anybody. Like, I have levels of it too, you know. It's just where you start something, then you start something, and you start something. It's all over the place. So not wanting to be all over the place, I want to get into relationship energy, because I feel that there's a lot of decision making right now. You may have people that are interested in you and you in them, but I think the decision making is very much based upon what it is that heals you, what it is that makes you feel. And the lesson here too is not to be completely inundated by the desire to be in conjunction with somebody. I have to be with somebody. I have to be part of this person's life, you know, almost like an obsessive energy. There's an energy here where it's like we really need to be careful and focus upon like the levels of what we give of ourselves. And the reason I say that too is because when we give, we must make sure that it's authentic. We must make sure that the authenticity is at its highest, because what we're doing is we're creating in relationships. And you have to understand, even if you're not speaking or like physically doing an action, the thought and intention of what you're thinking to incorporate into a relationship is just as good as a physical deed in certain ways, because it's like we're putting forth energy and things. So I think like if we have choices between people, be most so honest with yourself, you know, and also be conscious of wanting to save grace, wanting to save face. Save face. There's a level of like where it's like you might want to be kind of sly in how you scoot away from a situation. Be careful with this. And it's almost like as if your rebuttal is like, let's say somebody recently just went blind and they needed you to give them some very specific information. And you handed them a book. And in this book, all of the information that was crucial that they needed, it was there, but it was in Braille. And they just went blind. They don't know how to read Braille. They don't know how to read Braille. But in your eyes, or in your deed, it's like, well, I gave them the information. Be careful about that. Be careful about that. You need to be on the level, because what is at stake here is not the ease in how we release ourselves. and how we can not hurt somebody. The reality here is that we need to be conscious of the way that we enter and exit into situations, because those have ramifications on our soul, on our growth, on our healing, and in our path with other people. When we do those things, it's like a wrong. It's like you're wronging somebody because you're not upfront with yourself, with your words, with your truth. We need to be very upfront. We need to be very conscious in how we present this energy to people, how we present it to ourselves, because the level of what we're doing is very important for ourselves in regard to in regard to how we feel, in regard to how we experience from this point forward. And there's something very important about from this point forward. It's like there's been a leveling of energies here where it's like we really have to take notice, stock, take into consideration the things that we've already experienced in the past, and how we went about them, and where we realize that was like what we did in that situation, and how it's affecting us now, because it all comes back. It's always going to come back, just so you know that. And I'm not saying that like a threat, but like it always comes back. That's why I'm saying it's very important to have intention within how we experience life and how we connect and communicate our truth with others. So be careful in how you express and experience. Express and experience. There's a level here too where it's like, you know what, you almost feel up against a wall, because you recognize that there's a level of happiness at stake. There's a level of potential emotional stability and repose at stake, reprieve, relief, reliability. There's something about that, you know, and you're being very hard on yourself in how you go about getting it, you know, because it's like you see it and you almost don't have the understanding of how to actually achieve it without almost throwing these other roadblocks in, like let me be kind of like slippery with this. Let me slither out of this way, you know. There's something about that energy that we really need to break. It's not going to be beneficial for you in the long run, and you already know that. And these thoughts come to you when you're just like doing random shit. Like you weren't even thinking about anything, and it's like, ooh, that's when you know that it's real. When that type of thought comes to you, pay attention to it, because it's being sent to you for a very, very specific reason. Just pay attention to it. In love, I feel very much like you have a situation that is, this is one group, one people, one however, whomever this is for. You have a situation where there is somebody who they love you. Their methods may be a lot different than yours, but there is still a good connection. There's still a solid connection that's actually growing. And it's not just like they do things differently from you. They do, but they don't. They do, but they don't. And I think that you're figuring out that there's a definite level of, hey, we're not so separate. We're not so divided. But also there's a level here too where it's like you're burning the candle at both ends in regard to what you are. Oh God, how do I say that? It's like what you're hoping for. It's like what you're hoping for in this situation with this person. You're burning too many candles. You're burning too many lights. You have too many. Okay, so this whole message here is all about courting. You're courting too many people. Courting, but courting. C-O-R-D-I-N-G. Courting. You are courting. Etherical cord. You've got etheric cords to energies, to people, to situations, to outcomes, to potential outcomes, to failure. You have cords to all of these energies, and you are blasting through your power. And you may have courted another person or 2 other people or 3 other people, or other people are courting you and you're feeling those energies. And by feeling them, you're also taking into consideration, well, you know, all of the different options. And while I think that that's good, to recognize options, it's almost like when you have one of those flowers and you're like, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me. But it's like, you're just kind of like looking at all these options and like not paying attention. You're just like plucking and plucking. And then it's like you get to it and it's gone. There's no more petals. So regardless, you don't even know what you chose. Something is still, it's too much. You need to be conscious. You need to be clear in what you're choosing. And you need to do it for a reason that resonates with you. Not because you just want love, not because you just want to feel happy with somebody or that they're cute or a level of idealization, because that would fit my ideal or like what I think about this person, or like people or my social group would accept this person if they were fill in the blank. You need to be very conscious about what you truly want in regard to your human experience, your human physical experience here. You need to be conscious of what you choose to experience here. And by your creation and addition to a situation, you will reap what you sow. So there's a lot of energy in regard to being very upfront and honest in how you experience this situation with whomever this is or whomever these people are. And this doesn't just have to be romantic. There's something here too where it's familial, where it's friends. When we're giving too much, be very conscious. Don't lie, even if they're your friends and you're like, oh my God, they're my besties, they'll totally understand. Like, no, like be very, very upfront where you are in your life, where you are right now in this situation, because this is crucial for your growth and your development. So, is there anything else for love? You need to be careful with Casanovas, because they're going to be very appealing. And they're going to also be very scary, because you've experienced that energy before. I feel hot. I feel like I'm getting hot. Like, you know, when you're getting angry and like you start getting hot. Yeah, it's like you've been through Casanovas before and you're like, I want to fight. Jesus. Yeah, this is the type of energy that I'm talking about. Like, be very careful with the people that you allow in your world, in your realm. Be careful with the people that have been with you before and that you've courted before, because they know what they know of you back then, but you have perception, you have a change in perception, you have understanding within what you're experiencing from then till now. So, you know, while they've gone off and lived their life and grown in certain ways on their own time, they still think that you're here. And so that's where their mental picture is of you, but they haven't experienced your elevation. So you're over here now. You're not here. You're over here. And you're being drawn back to reassess this situation, to access it, to reassess it or access it. Either way, be very, very, very conscious of that energy, because there's something here where it's supposed to die. There's something here where the energy is supposed to die, where it is supposed to, what's that stupid thing from the wrestling? Let's get ready to rumble. That. It's like one last hurrah, one last finality, you know, we got to get rid of it. Yeah, I think that this situation, because it does end up in like, it ends up in like first before love. Because you've used your discernment to really truly recognize what it is that you like, what it is that what resonates with you. And it's like, I like it. I like it. I like this person. I like this situation. I like this. I'm not like, oh my God, which one? It's like, I actually like this. I want to do this. That's what's important right here. It's that recognition of liking it. It's that recognition of knowing what works for you, what is for you. This is very much in regard to relationship, but this all ties in with this whole message. Don't cut yourself. You know, don't cut yourself on your situations. And if you do cut yourself on your situations, make sure you like be a puppy, like cut your teeth on something, but don't like cut your wrists, you know? So anyways, I feel that this message is done. I hope that this was helpful for you. You have something very lovely coming in though too, with whomever this person is. Once you realize what actually resonates with you, what truly resonates with you, and do some deep thinking, because what's being called for is death. A death of an ideal, a death of a hope, a death of a dream. That's what's being called to allow to release, because when you do release it, you get the hope, you get the dream, you get those things, but like you have to allow the seasons to change. And that's something that we have a hard time, because it's like we want to be malleable to everything. And sometimes we can be so malleable that we don't want to be malleable with the things that have to go. God, I hope that makes sense. I don't know what. Sometimes, like when this happens, like you just don't know what you're talking about, like at all. Or you like watch it back. Like I watch back some of the tarot videos and I'm like, I don't even know what I was saying. You know? So, yeah. Yeah, it's very lovely though. It's very sweet. It's tender. It's like when you, like some of you will understand this, like when you are with a partner and you're holding them and you recognize the love that you have for them. And it's like that, it lights you up so much inside that like you cry. You cry. And you're not like sobbing, but it's like silent tears of joy. Like it's silent. It's good. It feels good. But all of this stuff, and they all play into each other too. Pay attention to all of these aspects. And some of this won't resonate with everybody. It may not with anybody, who knows, you know, but the information is here. And this is what I am needing to say here. So I hope everything's well, Pisces, and I may do more videos like this. I don't know. I may not. Who knows? But we shall see. Let me know if you found this at all helpful, and I will put out more if you find it helpful, or if it just needs to come out at 2, almost 30 in the morning. So yeah, either way, you may or may not get another video like this. All right, I hope everything's well. Take care in your life. Bye-bye.